G'day folks, Scott here. I haven't done any movie reviews for the last few weeks simply because I've been neck deep playing video games. As any of you who are gamers know, the sort of September to November is the release window for AAA blockbusters every year. There's just a couple more games to come out for this year. I will do a sort of 2017 gaming video when all the new games are out. But right now, the point of this video is just under a week ago, I got my Project Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X that came out last Tuesday. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and impressions on how it's been this last, almost a week playing this thing. I guess fundamentally there's a few questions you need to ask yourself if you were going to buy one of these things as to whether you're going to benefit from it or whether you need it. I guess question one would be, have you got a 4K TV yet? If you're an existing Xbox One owner and you're looking to upgrade to this system, sure, there's benefits on a 1080p TV, but they're not as noticeable. If you have expendable income, you probably already bought the thing. But if you're still running a 1080p TV, probably an Xbox One S is as good as it needs to be until you upgrade. 4K has become a lot more affordable now, and I know I keep saying I'm going to do a video on 4K movies, and I will do that soon. But even if you're in the market for a 4K Blu-ray player, the Xbox One S or Xbox One X are, a really good value, affordable option to get one into your home. But fundamentally, you need a 4K TV to really see the benefits of this thing. I've had a 4K for ages, and I had a Xbox One S since they launched last August. I primarily bought that thing because of the 4K Blu-ray element to it, which I'll go over later on. And I liked it. It was a great machine. It didn't play games in 4K, although it did upscale them to 4K. And it did support the HDR color format. So it was almost neck and neck with the PlayStation Pro. PlayStation Pro played games in what they call dynamic 4K, which I'm not sure if that's native or it's just a nice way to say it does it when it can and it doesn't at other times. Overall, my experience with the PlayStation 4 Pro has quite honestly been not that fantastic. There's been certain games on that system that just blew my mind, like the graphical quality of Horizon Zero Dawn, which was easily one of my favorite games this year. The new Gran Turismo looks gorgeous, but the disparity between titles, with some of them looking fantastic and some of them not looking any better than they did previously on the 1080p version of the machine, was pretty bold. And that was my concern going into the Xbox One X. Even more so with the fact that because I was already upscaling games on the Xbox One S to 4K and seeing them in the HDR color format, I had big concerns that there wasn't going to be a big enough gap for me to justify the expense of buying it. I'm happy to say there was. I set this thing up on a side note. If you're upgrading from an Xbox One to an Xbox One S, get yourself an external hard drive, back everything on that machine up to that external hard drive, save your settings, because the changeover was so easy. I literally plugged the hard drive in, turned the machine on, did a really quick system update. It congratulated me for saving all my shit. I typed in my password and it was done. It was that easy. It was a really, really quick process. Another great thing they've done is with the latest version of the Xbox One dashboard and the latest update they did, in the backup and settings, actually it was in the backup and data transfer section of the settings in the machine, there was a allow 4K content box that you could tick now before you got your Xbox One X that let your Xbox start downloading all the 4K updates for these games before you get your new machine. So again, you're transferring all that stuff over to your hard drive, transferring it straight to your new machine, and you're able to enjoy content straight away. Over the few days leading up to and after the Xbox One X coming out, a lot of the manufacturers, especially first-party Xbox, Microsoft games, received these massive updates. The biggest update that just completely did my head in was Forza Motorsport 7, which is hands down the best looking game as far as the upgrade from 1080p to 4K went, had a 95 gigabyte update. I still don't quite understand why that update was so big considering the game itself only installs at 95 gigabytes, so it's like they made me download the entire game again. Gears of War 4, which I got another big first party update, which looks spectacular now. That's like 103 gigs now, so there's a lot of internet smashing for those first few days. It's cool that the Games and Apps tab in your Xbox One now has a Dropbox that lets you choose Xbox One X enabled games. So any of the games in your library that have received an upgrade or an enhancement as a result of this machine being brought out, you can easily see which ones you own that have had that and check them out. So really over this last week, what I've done is gone back and looked at a bunch of games that I've been playing that have now been updated. I guess a cool thing with a lot of these games having been released already was Forza 7 and Assassin's Creed Origins and Call of Duty World War II and Wolfenstein 2. These games I've been playing a lot, especially Assassin's Creed Origins on the Xbox One S. So I was really interested to see the upgrade, and the upgrade in Assassin's Creed and Forza, especially Forza, but in Assassin's Creed the upgrade was immediately noticeable. Just sharpness of items in the distance, of textures, even foreground textures. Lighting, HDR is just as important, if not more so, than the actual 4K resolution bump, I feel, because the lighting becomes so much more natural. That sensation you get when you're inside in a darkened area and walk outside in real life and your eyes have to adjust and you get that sort of blindness for a moment and stuff, that's replicated so well, and because of the HDR color format now and the lighting format, that it's really super impressive. You know, there were more dust particles and dirt and more sheen on his armor and things like that. It's a noticeable difference. That being said, it's not like you're buying a next generation system. This is still an Xbox One, just like the PlayStation 4 Pro was still a PlayStation 4. The best way I could describe this to you would be if you've ever been a PC gamer and you've had an existing PC and all of a sudden it's falling behind the curve and a lot of the games coming out you can't run anymore, and you go out and shell a bit of money on some new RAM and you buy a new graphics card and you see that boost in quality and performance. That's what the Xbox One X is on the right TV. It's a boost in performance. I'm not so fussed about loading times. I haven't been sitting there with a stopwatch, checking how long it took them to load compared to how long it used to. That doesn't fuss me. For me, it was about graphical fidelity, and that made a huge difference. So really, that's all I've got to say about it. The machine itself is nice, it's small. Ironically, it's much smaller, well, not much smaller, but it's definitely smaller than the Xbox One S and definitely smaller than the original brick Xbox One that came out 4 years ago, but it's way heavier. It's a really heavy unit. It doesn't run overly hot, it doesn't run overly noisy. All the plugs on the back are the same as they were previously, to the point where I used all the same cabling from my Xbox One S, which I traded in, to get this thing. So I didn't even have to get behind the TV and pull all the cables out. I just literally pulled everything out the back of the Xbox, plugged it into the new one, turned it on, put in the hard drive, and like I said earlier, it was that simple to set this thing up. So, it's a cool machine. If you meet the criteria that I mentioned before, you should definitely get on it. I'll be back in a couple more weeks once the last games of the year are out, and I'll do like a showcase of the stuff that's really meant something to me gaming-wise in 2017. And likewise, I'll be back later this week to review Justice League, which comes out in Australia on a Thursday, which, as always, with the no trailer thing, I'm actually pretty keen to see, and I'm pretty keen to see whether DC can maintain this momentum that they've sort of got with Wonder Woman and try and wash away that sort of sour taste that everyone seems to have for Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll be back with those reviews really soon. Thanks, guys.